What's your interpretation of terrorism?
Terrorism
Yeah.
is an act of violence targeting children and civilians to advance the political...
Correct. Is that what Hamas did on October the 7th?
Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
I'm asking you.
I don't believe it was an act of terrorism. No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Even though they literally did what you just articulated as a definition of terrorism.
Do you have proof that they targeted women and children, civilians specifically? What's the proof?
I'll tell you the proof.
What's the proof?
You want?
Oh, the GoPro videos.
Oh, you don't think it happened?
Oh, the GoPro videos.
So also, like the doctor, you deny...
No. I've seen the videos. I'm a journalist. I've authenticated the videos. Right. I've seen the videos.
Right.
But show me the proof that women and children were specifically targeted as opposed to...
They were literally burned alive in homes.
Okay, where's the proof?
People were beheaded.
Proof.
Babies were killed.
Name me one child. One child was beheaded. Name me one child that was beheaded. And I will mourn and condemn with you.
I just said people were beheaded. I didn't say a child.
No primary source subject.
No. So just to be clear,
no primary source
to be clear, like the doctor, you do not believe that anyone was beheaded, that children were killed? Let me clarify where I'm wrong here. Were these things happening?
Israeli civilians were killed.
How many?
I don't know. Mark Regev doesn't even know. We need to first establish...
No, they do know.
How many...
We know at least 1,200 people, including around 400 soldiers. So we're assuming 800 civilians were killed. And we know at least...
How many of them were killed by Israel?
At least another 200 odd civilians were taken hostage, right?
How many of them were killed by Israel?
How many do you think?
A lot higher than...
It's not.
Yes, it is.
There's no evidence of that.
Of course it is.
No, it's not.
Just look at the Nova Music Festival and look at the burnt out cars.
You see,
Hamas doesn't even have
this is the problem, isn't it? The real reason you want me boycotted is I'm telling the truth, and what you're doing is trying to convince viewers, and maybe your Muslim fan base, I don't know, you're trying to convince them that what we saw through the eyes of Hamas's own technology, where they gloated and boasted about what they'd done, didn't happen.
No,
and you want me to think, and you want me to think that even though you articulated, you articulated a description of terrorism and then said that didn't apply to October the 7th, even though that's exactly what happened. You see, I would say that's delusional. I would say it's deliberately misleading, as was the attempt to try and make me apologise to Muslim women for apparently calling them oppressed, which I didn't do.
And you stand by that comment?
Which I didn't, yes.
You couldn't care less about the offence caused to 1 billion Muslim women, or 1.8 billion Muslims about talking about jihad and Sharia, the sacred law of Muslims.
There was a deliberate attempt to misquote me out of context to try and make out that it's the way you interpreted it. Anyone who watched the whole exchange knew what I was doing. That when you have a member of that group talking about filthy feminism...
commit terrorism?
Sorry? No, I don't. No.
Okay. Do you believe state actors can commit terrorism?
It's possible.
It's possible, but you don't believe Israel has?
I do not.
With those figures that are screaming at you at your face.
If you'd watched the show last night, you would have seen my monologue was a strident criticism.
I don't watch your monologue so religiously.
You know what? Maybe you should watch a bit more if you want to boycott the show. If you want people to stop watching me, it might be useful if you ever watch it.
I do watch it here and there.
Yeah, but do you though?
Yeah, I do.
Dilly? Or do you watch the odd little clip on social media that's been taken out of context and then you say, boycott this guy?
The issue isn't about boycotting Piers Morgan per se. It's about unless you rectify the way you deal with your Muslim guests, then boycott is on the options. That's what it is. Now, if you're saying to me, did Hamas commit an act of terrorism? I've made it abundantly clear. It was a military offensive by various factions, not just Hamas. Now,
it wasn't a military offensive.
What was it?
It was a terrorist attack against predominantly civilians who were brutalised. They were tortured.
But 7,000 children, 7,000 children,
were beheaded.
Decapitated Palestinian children isn't terrorism, is it? 7,000 children dead without heads, without heads.
Again, if you had
without limbs.
Again, if you had watched my show last night, you would have heard exactly what my view of this was. But here's the thing: the President of the United States thinks there've been indiscriminately bombing.
So basically, you're just going to parrot whatever Biden says.
No.
Is that what it is?
No, I'm going to say...
Do you not have a conscience of it?
If the President of the United States has intelligence of indiscriminate bombing, that is a war crime. We've heard the denial.
Took 70 days.
We've heard the denial. But if it turns out the United States has intelligence of indiscriminate bombing, that is a war crime, and I will call it for what it is. Right? Is what's going on in Gaza horrible? Yes. Is it disproportionate? I believe it is. Are they going to win against Hamas and wipe them all out? I don't think they are. Is America going to lose patience very soon? Yes. It's not ethnic cleansing.
Is it genocide?
And it's not genocide. No, it's not. Because that actually involves the eradication of an entire people. If they wanted to, they could drop a nuclear bomb on Gaza and kill everybody there.
We've already had
that would be genocide. I don't believe it qualifies as genocide, right? And these terms are important. Are the Palestinians being treated?
Finkelstein believes.
Are the Palestinians... as he's articulated last night at length and very powerfully. And we had a very reasonable conversation, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? I commend you to watch it. Go back and watch it, and maybe you wouldn't be calling for boycotts, right? I genuinely
You're very triggered about being boycotted.
Yeah, because I feel I feel it's really unfair.
Why?
I do, because I don't think you've been watching the show, and that's quite clear.
I've watched some of these shows.
And that's quite clear.
Okay.
I don't think you watch me sit with Bassem Youssef for 2 hours and really try and get under the weeds of this conflict with somebody who can talk me all through it, right?
So why didn't Mohammed Hijab get that same treatment? Low-key get that same treatment?
But they have.
Sam Zomra get that same treatment?
Have.
Do you know how religiously I have actually watched certain episodes? That on average you interrupt your Muslim guest 21.3 seconds.
Really?
What's your views on that?
Did you watch the Bassem Youssef interview?
No. I
literally interviewed him for more than any other guest.
Excluding Bassem Youssef.
Excluding him. How many others do you want to exclude? There was another Palestinian doctor that I interviewed at length and never interrupted him once.
Whenever you've had segments where it's 15, 20 minutes with a Muslim guest, why do you interrupt every 27.3
it's not.
seconds?
You know who it is I interrupt? It's the extreme elements.
Oh, so you're now throwing these labels?
Yeah.
Why am I extreme?
Okay, I think
Explain to your viewers why am I extreme?
Because your attempt to deny what happened on October the 7th is an extremist response.
You call me an extremist.
Your refusal to call it terrorism
that's
is an extremist response.
There we have it. So I believe you're an Islamophobe and a genocide enabler for not using the correct term to describe Israel's indiscriminate genocide.
That's fine. You're perfectly entitled.